Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, question for you. Do you have a guiding star? I want to share a story with you today. It's an ancient story. It's the story of Nagah. Now, Nagah was a young man, and like most young men, he did not have a real direction in his life. And of course, his parents were always worried that he wasn't going to amount to anything. And so his father took him out on a little trip to try and find a way for him to connect and find a purpose in life. And as they were traveling around, they saw people climbing up a mountain. And they were curious, so they went up to the people and they asked them a question. And they were like, what's going on here? And they're like, well, this is the tallest mountain in the world, and we're trying to figure out how to get to the top, and no one's ever done that. And Nagah was like, I'd like to try that. My hands are strong, and I'm very agile. I've always climbed trees. I like that kind of stuff. And they're like, well, here's the thing. It's tall. People get up there. They look down, and then they fall because they get scared. So why don't you go over here and try this lower part of the mountain and see if you like it? Well, Nagah shimmies up this side of the mountain, and it's not very high, and he's up there, and he looks out, and he sees things from a height, and immediately it just strikes his heart. He's like, this is what I want to do. This is my purpose. I'm good at climbing. I want to do this. So he gets back down and he talks to the people, and they're like, well, here's the thing. You can climb that way and you can learn, there's some techniques, but to really go high, you have to learn how to do ropes, and there's some free climbing, and there's a lot of skills you have to learn. And Nagah's like, well, I want to learn all these skills. So he keeps climbing, and he's taking classes, and he's learning, and soon, before long, he becomes one of the best climbers in the world. But still, the mountain is there, and he can only get so high just like the rest of them. And every few months, he'll go and climb another mountain, and he'll conquer that, and then he'll come back and try and figure this mountain out. And he learns how to climb with the ropes, and he does the free climbing, and soon he's teaching, and he's doing search and rescue, and he's doing all these different things. Still, there's the mountain. One day, he's kicking around, and he kicks a rock over by a bush that's at the side of the mountain. And he hears an echo because the rock fell into a hole. And he'd never known that there were any holes or crevices in the lower end of the mountain. So he goes and he moves the bush out of the way, and he realizes he can fit into the crevice. So he starts to crawl down, and he goes deeper into the mountain, and next thing he knows, it's dark and he can't see, and it's closing in on him, and he gets scared, and he goes, oh my gosh, I'm scared. What do I do? I've never felt this before. And he starts thinking to himself, well, no one's been able to climb the mountain. No one's ever seen this hole. I gotta keep going because this may be the only chance I have to climb to the top of the mountain. So he gathers his breath and he keeps on going. And sure enough, once he gets to the bottom and it levels out, he can see off in the distance a little faint glow of light. And he crawls over to the glow, and here in the middle of the mountain underneath, there's a little chimney, a little passageway, and he starts to kind of climb up, and he realizes he can get all the way up to the top just with his hands and crawling like you would inside, like Santa in a chimney trying to get out. He can climb up, it's that size. As he's starting to climb up part way, some of the rocks aren't real strong. And you notice he puts his foot down, and some of the rocks slide away, and then he climbs here, and some of the rocks slide away. He doesn't fall because he's strong and he's good at doing this. But all these rocks keep falling. Well, he keeps going because he's like, I gotta keep going, I gotta keep going. And eventually, he climbs to the top of the mountain. And he's up on the top of the mountain, and he's looking down, and it's beautiful. There's little streams going up there. There's some trees and bushes and plants and all this stuff around here. So he gets a few berries and he eats and he drinks some water, and he's just up there. And then he can look down and he can see way down there, he sees some of his friends. Hey, hi guys. How's it going down there? Nagah, you made it. And he's like, how did you get up there? And they're like, go over by the bush, and there's a crevice, and you can crawl down it, and then there's a chimney for you to climb up. It'll take you a while, but I'll be up here. I'm not going to come down until you guys get up. Well, they go down, and unfortunately, all the rocks that had fallen while he was climbing up the chimney had blocked the entry point. And it was horrible because he couldn't get out. They came back and they're like, there's no exit. There's no way for us to get in. There's rocks everywhere. We don't see this hole you were talking about. And Nagah's like, okay, well, I'll figure this out eventually. So he eats and he starts making a fire because it's getting dark. And from all around, everyone can see the fire at the top of the mountain. And they tell his father. His father comes and he tries to excavate and get him out, and he's up there for days and then months. Every night, he's got plenty of wood, so he just keeps making a fire and eating the berries, whatever's there. And eventually, his father, unfortunately, has to give up. He's like, there's no way for us to get you. We can't get a rope up for you to come down. You can't come down the chimney because you can't get out, and there's too many rocks, we can't get you out. And it's a sad, sad day. But what happens is, I didn't tell you that Nagah and his father are star people. This actually comes from this folklore is from Native Americans who believe in the star people. Nagah's father has the opportunity to turn Nagah into a star. And so he goes to the council of the star people and they go, everyone out there now travels by the fire at the top of the mountain that my son is lighting every night to keep warm. But it's so much more. People are navigating. They know where they're going because they can see the fire from many, many miles away. And they go, can we turn Nagah into a star? And the council gets together, yes, we can do it. And this, my friends, is the story of how the North Pole, the polar star, the Stella Polaris, came about by the Native Americans. Now, what I want to talk about real quick is some of the things that Nagah had to go through. It's important, I think, for us to know who we are and where we're going. And what Nagah did is he figured out what was he good at. That's one thing. What did I say towards the beginning of the story that he said he was good at when he was about to climb up the little thing? Who remembers? This is the discussion part.
Climbing.
Climbing. He had strong hands, he was agile, he was able to climb, but he found a passion. And what was that passion? The view from the heights. That when he got up there and it hit him. And why is this so important? Well, if you think about it, he went down into a crevice where he'd never been. And we all know this is claustrophobia. He became afraid of something. This was out of his realm. He was afraid. But because of his passion, because he wanted to climb to the top, the very top of the highest mountain, that passion got him to push forward. How many of us have started down a path and realized it was a little bit scary, and without the passion, we turned around? That's something we can't do. We have to keep going. We have to focus on our passion and move forward. And what I would submit to you all is that you should have a guiding star. There's trillions and probably more than trillions of stars out there. And I think when you look at who you are, what you're good at, what are you passionate about, you can look out there and you can pick a star. So let me kind of wrap this up. I used to listen to Top 40 radio back when Casey Kasem was doing it. I'm sure most of you here remember. Michael may not. But he always ended the Top 40 with, keep your feet on the ground, but reach for the stars. I suggest that you keep your feet on the ground and reach for your guiding star.